Hey guys, Dustin Bogle here with Gym Reinforcements, and I'm joined by my longtime buddy, Joe Harris with the KLD Method. He has an online nutrition and coaching business. And so I'm going to be taking an inside look at his business and asking him to share some of his best golden nuggets for you guys so you can grow your business too. And hey, don't just write him off because he's an online coach and talking to you about his online coaching business. He has personal training experience. He operates a boot camp. There are things that can apply to you guys as a gym owner if you don't have an online coaching business, or if you're, thinking about starting an online branch of your business, you might find some golden nuggets here. So definitely hear what Joe has to say. So Joe, excited to have you here, man. Could you just tell us where's your gym located? How long has it been open? And then how long have you been doing the online game?
My gym is in Wichita Falls, Texas. I've owned it for this would be going on the 5th year. So we've owned it for 4 years, going on 5th year. And then the online thing started in July of last year. So we've had KLD for about 13 months now.
Right. Okay. And so have you seen similarities between the two? Have you seen things you took from your boot camp that you apply to online, or things that you learned from online that you apply to your boot camp?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that, and this is just my opinion, but I really feel like you have to have that in-person experience before you can be a valued coach online. Because there's things that we do in the online space that if I didn't know what it was like working with real people and having conversations face to face and coaching people live, well, it wouldn't, make me a good coach online. And I see that as a big problem for a lot of people is they kind of just, oh, online is sexy because it's easy. There's more people to market to, but there's a reason there's not a lot of good coaches online is because they don't have that in-person experience. So that's kind of the thing that I've seen is I feel like it's transferred over greatly because like everything I talk about is literally what I've talked about in person before. So just transferring that online, the only difference is like it's phone calls instead of an in-person meeting, right? Like, but
Right.
other than that, it transfers perfectly.
And I bet a piece of that is being able to communicate to the client like on their form, or how to read labels, or how to eat. When you do that so much in person, you can probably more easily transfer it to a remote type of coaching. But it's probably pretty hard to just jump into that from day one unless you're a really good communicator. And again, just those reps are going to help you to know what the client is seeing live, on their body when they say, I get rid of this, and they grab onto their stomach, or my knee, this area, my knee is hurting. And so, that's very, very valuable. So let's share some golden nuggets, man, because I know you've had hockey stick growth with your online coaching business. And I wanted to ask you, like, what are one or two things that you think have really contributed to that? If there's any golden nuggets that come to mind when you hear me say that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is not being scared to pay to play, right? A lot of people will say they want a certain amount of clients and I'm willing to do this, this, and this, but in reality, it comes down to you're not willing to, pay to play. And so for me, and I know I've told you this, Dustin, is like I'm willing to spend whatever it takes to get to where I want to go. And I don't feel like a lot of people are doing that. They say they are, but in reality, they're like, that's a little too much for the budget. But going into that, and I would say golden nugget number two, and these kind of correlate, is knowing your numbers. Like when I got on the phone with Dustin, I told him exactly what my numbers are, what percentages are, what I'm looking for, what when someone starts, who ends from those people, who schedules, like I knew every single piece of numbers so that when I hired him, or his team, they knew exactly what my KPIs were that I was looking for, right? And so golden nugget number two is knowing your numbers, because then you can make decisions on how much to spend and knowing your numbers and like, yeah, this put me in the hole for a couple months, but I know in month 3 I'm going to be so far ahead, which a lot of people aren't willing to do that, right? And yes, for me, I have a high risk tolerance with that stuff, right? Like I'm willing to risk a lot of things, but it's because I know what the outcome's going to be, right? I mean, with gym reinforcements, Dane has not only paid for herself like twice this month, but she continues to get better and better. And I mean, we're making sales every single day now, where that's the biggest thing. Those are the two golden nuggets.
I want to state something that I think is really powerful for everybody. is the one thing you can't fast forward in terms of building your confidence and figuring out your business is time. And time gives you confidence. The more reps you do, the more time that you work on a problem, that you just get this confidence just because you've done it so long, and you hear people say that, like, why is the first thing we want to rattle off? Like, I've been in this industry 10 years. I've been in this business 20 years, because we want you to know that that means something, that we've done so many reps and that we've become very skilled at what we do. And essentially, when it comes down to, when we work with a new account, which again, we love working with you. And I love that you know your numbers, because we know you're dialed in. And the gyms and the accounts we work with that have a very clear system, and they have a very clear gauge on their numbers, they always do the best. What do you know? And then the people have no idea what their numbers are. They struggle no matter how, strong our sales team that comes in. And it's just sitting down and getting that vision of what you want. And then how are things now? You got to have the future and you got to have the present type of vision. And so one of the things that people get really antsy about is they want it now. And that's why I brought up that time component. I want you to be good now. When you walk in, you just make it rain on day one. And one of the hardest things it is to get across to people is like, we need to learn your account, and we need to learn your leads. And yes, I know we want sales ASAP. We want it too, but we got to take some time and see, have these leads been completely untouched for 6 months? Have you burned them with texting them too many times? Do they hear good things about your gym and have good reputation, or do they hear bad things and now they're not as quick to respond? Almost every time, the gyms that do the best and get the most responses and the most sales, they have a good reputation. They hear all their good friends go there and they hear good things. And then they have a clear onboarding and client experience process. And the people who lack that, funny enough, tend to get the worst results. So I think it's, you just got to put in your reps, you got to put in your time, and you got to dial in your systems. And then when you do invest, which I think, the way to look at it is it's a calculated risk. You brought up, you have a high risk tolerance, but if somebody sees, yes, I have to spend money, but it's a calculated risk, I've figured out how it's going to fit in my vision, it will come back to them. Right. So that's kind of what I wanted to point out there. But did you have another nugget that came to mind?
You just said it perfectly, because the biggest thing, and I told you this too, is like, I know that Dane's going to get better and better. And you hit on it perfectly, where a lot of people want it now. And I was just so confident that it was her first time ever doing my sales process. And, it's going to be, she still made sales, but of course it's going to be a little rough, right? Well, this time, I mean, it's like every day that she gets on the phone, she's at least making one or two. And so it's having that patience, because as a business owner, a lot of times you're relying on these numbers to, number one, pay for the employee, number two, to grow your business. And so it could be really overwhelming to have to wait to see that money come in. But I like that you made us pause and really hit on that, because a lot of people want it now, but just give the person time and they're going to get better and better. Those are the biggest things. Like, the biggest things that have changed my, business is really just knowing my numbers the most and knowing what I'm willing to do to get there. So like, every time I've known the numbers, I'm like, okay, cool, let's increase the ad spend by this much or this much. And I mean, ultimately one day I want to get to like $100 a day, because I know what my numbers are going to be for sales, once I just know the numbers of the conversions and all that stuff. So it really just comes back to knowing your numbers and being willing to pay to play.
I think one of the things that I just want to point out here as well is that both of those things require time. And if you are not actively trying to free up your time, you will not be able to grow your business, because for you to spend time looking at the numbers means you're not coaching sessions. And for you to take the time to role play and to train up and to work on your sales script and to give feedback, that requires time. So the more you're doing, I often say you're not leading. And so anything that has got you tied down, like at this time I have to be at the gym, at this time I have this appointment, at this time, well, it sounds like your time belongs to everybody else except you. And so your job should be to free up your time. And I think that scares a lot of gym owners, because they just don't know what I would do. What do you do all day if your time is freed up? But it's like, these are the things. And so I think sometimes it might scare them, so they self-sabotage and they go back to their routine. They might just, I'm going to drive down to the gym and I'll buy everybody coffee. I'm not going to look at my numbers. Forget that. Who wants to look at a sales script and do role play? I'm just going to go, clean up the gym and make sure everything's going okay. And then you just find yourself going back to your routine But you're like, no, you hired the morning coach so you can do these things. And one of the best uses of a gym owner's time is to invest in their team. And that's what you did with Dana. I think that's why, she's paying off for you. If you don't mind sharing, what were those numbers that she hit with that last sales week? Because I know you guys do things a little differently. If you don't mind sharing, like your method of bringing on new people, like what is the offer? And then how do you approach sales after that offer?
Well, she's not done with the week yet. So it's tough to have the specific numbers, but let me pull some stuff up real quick. So just to give you guys an example, the whole sales process that we had, she made 10 sales. We still have like 30 sales calls to go, and she's already made 12. So, she's already making strides to that. As far as the process that we do, are you talking about like how I do like the launch versus
Yeah, the keto camp and all that.
Yeah, so the way that I do things is, so I run a free 21-day keto camp. Now, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, free clients suck." I take a different approach because people always say the more they pay, the more they pay attention. Well, if it's really important to somebody, they're going to stick through to the end, right? And I make that very clear in every coaching call that I do with them is, "Hey, you're still here," right? And that takes a lot of willpower because it's free. You're not paying anything. Like, it's not one of those where put a deposit, like it's literally free. So only the strong are going to survive, right? So just to give you some examples, we had 125 people start keto camp. In the first 10 days, we're down to 84 people, right? Those are 84 very committed people because they're still here. And the other ones, 41 of them, they're already gone. They've already chosen their fate, right? That's why they stay the same, because change is hard and they don't want to do it. So that's a big thing. So basically what we do is we do a keto camp every single month, and it's almost essentially 21 days of my coaching process, right? It's a feeling out process. We're going to see if we're a good fit for each other. Cause let's be honest, like, could I get you on a sales call that first day and say the right things and make you sign up? Yeah. But are you probably going to fall off in a couple weeks? Yeah. So why not take 21 days to see if we actually like each other, or more importantly, if I like you? Because I'm very particular of who I work with. That's why we like our sales script, like it's very qualifying, right? Like we have to qualify the people, because if not, we're going to get people who are uncommitted, and we're just not about that life. And I don't know if I should mention this, Dustin, but Dane, my salesperson, she's selling 12-month programs. Most people can't sell 12 weeks. So could we get more people on a 12-week program? Yes. But I want committed people for 12 months. So Dane with gym reinforcements is literally selling 12 months, which is unheard of for the most part in our space. But that's kind of how we do it. So we launch it 21 days, see who's a good fit. We do our sales calls halfway through our process, because now we've shown them a quick win, right? We showed them that, hey, what we do works. And then there's a phase 2, because like, guess what? Phase 1 isn't always going to work forever. That's why there's a phase 2. So then we get them on the phone, tell them exactly how the process works. Once they know what the process is, they feel confident. Well, then that's when they get an onboarding with me. So that's kind of how our process works in the online realm. And we've done the same thing in the gym, right? Is it a lot less volume? Yeah. But do we still get people who commit long-term? Yeah. So it's all about showing, like our philosophy is make our free stuff better than their paid stuff, right? So I can almost guarantee that there's people watching this call right now where our free stuff is better than your paid stuff. And that's why they stay. When you get a free client or someone who hasn't paid anything and you treat them as such, well, why do you think they're not staying? Because you don't care about them. You don't love them up. You don't message them when they don't post anything, right? You're like, oh, well, they're free, so I'm not going to reach out. Well, that's why they don't stay, because you don't care. So that's kind of how we do things.
Perfect. And, it's just like
Okay.
that look of how do you approach, attracting and converting online clients. And, I think that, again, we went to that earlier, time. You had time. What would that allow you to do? You just brought it up. That's build out a beautiful client experience. What do they get as a text on day one? How simple are your instructions? What's their onboarding like? Like, put yourself into those clients' shoes and ask yourself, what do we send them at what times? Do we anticipate their needs? If you're new to, exercising, maybe on day 2 or 3, they should get some soreness tips, because if you're new to the gym, you're going to be sore. If somebody's got, cravings, as they go through your nutrition plan, maybe at this point we notice after a week, everybody starts getting hit hard with cravings. So we're going to send them some craving busters. And so like the more you can think through what the person is going to go through, because you should have done thousands of reps, the more you can anticipate it, build out this client experience. Say, we know what's going to happen to you before you know. And so we've built out this client experience, and people see the value in that. They see you as an expert. Like, you must know your stuff. You told me something was going to happen before it did, and then you had a solution waiting for me. So that's what you built, and that's why, again, it's a no-brainer that Dane's able to just sign people up left and right. You got a good client experience, it solves everything, right? For the most part. So,
Well, and that's the thing too, is what a lot of people don't realize. So like the reason I hired Dane is, well, so number one, I could have my time back for my family, because I know we talked about this when we were texting, but I mean, we'll just go, go, go. So you almost have to have that person. But then the other thing too is, I know everyone says like sales should be the last thing you delegate. And I agree if you don't have a proven system, right? And I know you said you don't have to promote gym reinforcements and all that. But in reality, I trusted Dustin and his team so much that I was like, I'm just going to give them a shot and try to get some of my time back, because to me, fulfillment is the most important thing. I want to make sure that my clients are having the best experience possible so they could stay the long term. And yeah, they're signing a 12-month contract, but at the same time, I don't want them to be miserable within that 12 months. Like, just because I got their commitment doesn't mean, oh, now I could treat them like crap. Like, no, I got to over deliver and do things that they didn't, like, stuff they didn't even know was coming, right? Like having the onboarding, like, hey, day 30, you're getting this. Actually, as soon as you sign up, you're getting this. Day 30, you're getting this. Day 60, you're getting this. Day 90, you're getting this. Like, and it's only getting better, right? Now that I have more time to do stuff, because I have a salesperson and it's not just go, go, go all day. Well, now I can think about those things and really make sure I'm fulfilling on my promises, but also over delivering at the same time.
love it. All right, man. Well, thank you again. All the kind words. We love, hearing about that we're exceeding expectations, but it's one of our core values. So I'm glad that Dane is paying for multiples of herself. What would you say to somebody who is kind of just being in their head, they're thinking about it, they're on the fence, and you just want to say, come on? What would you say to those fence riders?
Oh man. It's tough because it all comes down to what you want, right? If you want to spend every waking moment chasing leads and calling people and not fulfilling for your clients, then I mean, that's your fate, right? For me, my clients mean the world to me, and they should mean the world to you, because guess what? They're providing your lifestyle, right? And yeah, there's a value exchange. You're giving them something in return, but like, you're able to travel, you're able to buy food, you're able to pay rent, you're able to do these things because of your clients. And if you're constantly having to chase new people, well, that's going to take away from the client experience. And so you really got to start to think like, what's most important? Is it that my clients are getting an amazing experience and telling their friends, and now, we have 76 applications before we even start the next keto camp because of referrals? Or do you want to keep chasing, quote unquote, new money when you could be providing an ultimate experience, and leave that to, Dustin's team? Like, that's what they do. Like, so you don't have to do that. So you can provide for your clients, because guess what? Even if they don't make a bunch of sales the first month and they're continually getting better, well, guess what you've just done? Yeah, it's a little slow. Yeah, you made some money, but you're able to create your client experience for something better. And then most importantly, have your time back, which it's something you'll never get back, right? So that's kind of what I would say is, I think we need to have, as an industry, a more focus on the client experience and making sure you're over delivering in that, and then letting the freaking salespeople do what they do. Like, you didn't get into coaching to do sales all day. I don't care what any guru online says. You did not open a gym. You did not start an online coaching program. You did not do that stuff to make sales all day. But guess what? There are people who love to make sales all day, right? So let them do their thing, right? I don't intervene with Dane. She asked me a couple questions. Hey, so-and-so isn't seeing results. What should I tell them? Tell them this. Cool. And then she does her thing, right? But that's what I love. I love coaching the people. I love teaching the people. I love doing that. I'm very good at sales. And I told Dustin this, I am very good at sales, but I'm more focused on the client experience than I am the sales. So that's kind of what I would say.
Love it. I mean, that's your artwork, man. At the end of the day, is the clients and the transformation. So spend more time on your masterpiece, and then you can sell it for high dollars amounts to the world. So I love that. All right, man. Well, thank you. This has been awesome. Appreciate you. We love working with you, and cheers to much more growth moving forward, man.